All right, back with Sherman Worster here on this. Boy, we've been busy this morning.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
Really busy. I want to get into some health things that you usually come in for anyway. Maybe you could tell us what you got in store with
Yeah, the first thing I wanted to go over, and Andy couldn't, my wife put it on a jump drive and everything, but that didn't work out. But a friend of ours sent us an email. Mm-hmm. And what it was is a bag full of these caused a house fire.
Really?
You should have seen the flame coming out of his garage. It was unbelievable. What he did is he'd been putting them in a big bag.
These are 9-volt batteries.
Yes. The problem is they short out because the terminals are so close to each other. What he's recommending, and I never gave it a thought, is if you're going to put them in a bag to take to the recycle place, take some electrical tape and put it across the terminals and then put them in your bag. What happened is they shorted out and they get hot, and he had some combustibles near the bag, almost burned his house down.
No kidding.
So you want to make sure it don't short out. You know, when they're sitting like this. But Andy was saying, we were talking earlier, the other day he had one and he popped it in his pocket and had a pocket full of change. The battery got hot, and then of course it ruined the battery. He couldn't use it anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Wow.
I hope you don't mind.
No, it's a good example. It got hot enough that it was uncomfortable. I just started my pocket feels like it's burning.
Was it hot?
It was really hot, yeah.
You're kidding.
Like uncomfortable to hold hot.
And
the batteries that caused that fire were hot, were live batteries, or were they?
Well, some of them he'd taken out of his smoke detectors, you know, because he changes every daylight savings time or whatever. And I thought, well, if you don't have electrical tape hanging around,
Band-Aid.
Use a Band-Aid.
Well, be darned.
Because it's plastic here, padded there, but it'll do the job.
I'll be darned.
Yeah.
So even if they're used, they can cause a problem.
They were, because when you think about it, if you change them every year, like they tell you to, there's still some juice left in these, and then
see, mine are hot wired in, but they also have those as backups.
Mine too.
Yeah.
So you know, it probably wouldn't have never happened if he didn't. He was probably waiting until he was going to his recycle place.
Right.
So we don't know how many he had in the bag.
Right.
But it must have been enough that, well, obviously.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
And then for Andy to tell that story.
I couldn't believe it.
That's amazing.
I know.
And he said it was hot enough to be very uncomfortable and hot to touch. So I never knew that. Of course, I've never stuck a battery in my pocket before, but who to say you wouldn't sometime?
Yeah.
Very good tip there.
Well, you know, I'm sitting there watching when the video first started, showed the flames pouring out of his two-car garage. It was unbelievable. Nobody got hurt. The house didn't burn completely down or anything, but a lot of damage, and what it could have been was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But if you're going to put a bunch of them in a bag, you know, because they say you're not supposed to put them in your garbage and everything, but if you're going to recycle, just take a second and put something over the terminals.
I'm trying to think. When I buy 9-volt batteries, aren't they encased in plastic? Which is that? I mean,
keeps them separate.
That does keep them separate, so they are safe when you buy them at the store. But never thought of it.
First thing Jeannie thought of when pulled open the drawer in the desk, and there's 2 or 3 of these loose. And I'm thinking, I could have burned my desk down.
Well, I've got them in a box in our hutch, and I'm gonna have to look at it because I
Yeah.
think they're laying around, and who knows if they're not bumping each other or whatever. Wow, that's a good safety tip.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, and she put it on a jump drive, but that didn't work out. But it's
I think I might have got the same email, but I didn't open it up. It's something about batteries. It might have been the same
yeah, a
one.
friend of ours, we share emails, and he sent that, and it was. But then to come and find out from Andy, right in
That
his pocket,
happened,
he
yeah.
experienced the whole
And
thing.
it just happened.
Yeah, yeah.
It just happened.
It's unbelievable. I'm thinking, because I'm laying there last night thinking this guy had to have, I don't even know what number to put on it, but a few of these to get that hot
Right.
to cause, he said he put a clothes basket or some cloth material happened to be near the bag,
Ignited it.
and that's what ignited because the batteries got hot enough. So I'm figuring he had, like most of us, when you recycle, you usually wait until you get a bunch. Like I used
Right.
when we had the bins here.
Right.
I had a special box I kept for newspapers.
Right. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Instead of running down there every 3 days. Or
Well, I was saving newspapers for my son. He works in industry in Cleveland, and he goes, "We use newspapers as packing."
oh,
Well,
yeah.
I would save it in bags, but you know what? When he forgot to take it home, I'd have a bunch of bags in the garage, and I go, "I'm not going to do that anymore. And if you're not going to take it home, we're not going to save it for you because
Right.
that's another safety problem, fire hazard.
Yep.
You know." So we quit doing that.
Yeah. Same way with keeping gas cans in your garage.
They tell you not to do that, or propane tanks.
I have a storage barn shed / catch-all place.
I got to get one
And-
this summer.
And that's where the gasoline for everything stays.
Yep.
And that's where the extra propane.
If that goes, it's separate from the house.
Yep.
And you're
Yeah,
not gonna
it
have
could
hurt.
be rebuilt
Right,
without too
right.
much problem. Nobody should probably get hurt, you know, that, yeah, there's a few things out there, but we just have to be a little more careful. But I thought,
Here's a question for you.
oh, okay.
Would duct tape work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I even,
Same as that. basically.
exactly. The only thing I was thinking, even Scotch tape, but you'd probably have to use 2 or 3 layers, because that would, when they're bouncing around hitting each other,
That's pretty thin.
Yeah, that's too thin. But that's why I
Is it-
thought a Band-Aid or the electrical tape.
Another question. Wouldn't any metal that conducts electricity touching the terminals cause a problem?
Sure. Especially when it touches. See how close they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, these are used, and I can put my hand on there, and I don't feel current because it's only.
Those are used?
Yeah. But they say, even used, if there's a little bit left, if you were to put your tongue on both of them,
Really?
you would get a little tingle.
Try it.
All right.
No, don't.
Well, apparently so. Any metal would work because the change in my pocket worked.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just 9-volt batteries because the contacts are on the same end.
Right.
Any other battery.
And the other ones are only 1.5 volts,
right.
and these are 9, so that you got that thing, and then they're at opposite ends.
Now, I never put a battery in my pocket. Now, why in the world were you?
I was on my way to the basement. I was actually intending to put it into a smoke detector.
Okay.
And
Which is a good thing.
I just popped it in there, not thinking about it.
And it happened that quickly?
I forgot about it. It took probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes for me to notice. But
That's
I
still
sat
fast.
down, and then it was like right against my leg in the pocket. So I noticed it pretty.
Yeah.
It got my attention.
I've done this with a lighter. When you fill them up with lighter fluid, back in the day,
Yeah.
I put them in my pocket, and if it leaked, it
You-
burns you.
oh boy.
Yeah, it burns you. Yeah, yeah. All right, we do have a video to watch, don't we?
Yeah, it's about taking care of unconscious adults and children.
Okay.
It's only about 3.5 minutes long, but it's got some decent
Okay.
information. Yeah.
All right, we'll slide that in, and we'll.
Yeah, I
watch
brought
that.
all kinds of stuff. I didn't know what we were gonna have time to talk about.
Well, we've had a lot of stuff to talk
Yes,
about today.
we have.
We've
It's
been
been
busy.
a
Here we
great
go.
day. All right.
When you find a person who appears to be unconscious, follow the emergency action steps. Check, call, care, check the scene for safety. For a child, obtain consent from a parent or guardian if present. Then check the person for responsiveness. If the person doesn't respond, call for help. If the person is face down, gently roll the person face up, keeping the head, neck, and back in a straight line so you can provide care. Once the person is on her back, open the airway by using the head tilt, chin lift technique. To perform the head tilt, chin lift technique, place one hand on the forehead and 2 fingers on the bony part of the chin. Then tilt the head back as you lift up on the chin. Maintain this position. For a child, do not tilt the head back as far as you would for an adult. Check for breathing for no more than 10 seconds. Look to see if the person's chest clearly rises and falls. Listen for escaping air from the mouth and nose. Feel for escaping air against the side of your face. Normal, effective breathing is quiet, regular, and effortless. In an unconscious adult, you may detect an irregular, gasping, or shallow breath. This is known as an agonal breath. Do not confuse this with effective breathing. Care for the person as if there is no breathing at all. If an adult is not breathing, quickly check for severe bleeding, then begin chest compressions. If a child is not breathing, give 2 rescue breaths, one after the other, before checking for bleeding and giving care for the conditions you find. Use a CPR breathing barrier if available. Tilt the head back and lift the chin up. Then pinch the nose shut and make a complete seal over the child's mouth. Blow gently for about 1 second. Each breath should make the chest clearly rise. If the chest does not rise, re-tilt the child's head and try another rescue breath. After 2 successful rescue breaths, quickly scan the body for severe bleeding and care for the conditions you find. If at any time an unconscious person begins vomiting, the airway could become blocked. Roll the person onto one side, and then use a finger to clear out the mouth. Once the mouth is clear, continue to provide care based on the conditions you find. If the person is unconscious but breathing, maintain an open airway with the head tilt, chin lift technique, and monitor breathing and for any changes in condition until EMS personnel take over. If you cannot maintain an open and clear airway because of fluids or vomit, place the person in a modified Haynes recovery position by moving the person to her side while keeping the head, neck, and back in a straight line with the knees bent. If you need to leave the scene to call 911, modify this position by tucking the hand under the head.
Hey.
And perfect. Whoa, turn the volume down.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff. Things that you should know if something like that should happen. You never know. You don't know.
No.
So,
It can happen out in public. It can happen at your house. You can. When your family's older, and me, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
You just.
Well, there you go. So follow those rules, and it'll help your situation out there, obviously.
Well, something that simple of making sure their airway's open.
Right.
You know.
Right.
There's definitely a serious problem if the person is unconscious. Unconscious isn't normal. It's not a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so first thing you got to do is make sure that they're breathing and call.
Right.
You got to call as soon as possible.
The quicker the better.
That's it. Get the squad there and let them do their thing, and you know, hopefully everything's going to come out all right.
Very good. Interesting stuff. I wanted to mention too that this time of year, obviously, a lot of things are regarding, like last week when we had those sub-zero temperatures. Not a good thing to actually go out in that kind of weather,
If you
whether you're
don't-
healthy or not.
Right.
You know, and certainly don't be shoveling and that sort of stuff.
No, and you know, if you're 30 years old and your lungs are healthy and everything, sucking in the cold air probably won't bother you, but it's really not doing you any good.
Even if you're 30.
Yeah. Me, I didn't go out unless I had to, and when I did, I put my mask on.
Did you?
Otherwise, it just tears up. You know, I'd be living with the puffer every 15 minutes if, because it bothered me, that extreme change.
Right.
You know,
Right.
earlier in the year I tried doing the snow blower. That didn't work out well. I thought, you know, I'm done. Why push the envelope?
Well, that's where I'm at now. I actually hired some people to, because I had so many drifts on my front porch. And I go, you know, I'm no young chicken anymore. I probably better hire that out. And it was very, very economical to do. And they did it in a half an hour, which would have taken me probably 4 hours to do. And it was safer that
It worked
way.
out. Oh yeah, yeah.
It's safe. You know, I mentioned something to you about health when we first went on the air. Or before we went on the air, and I can't remember what it was, but I wanted to talk about it.
Okay.
Now I can't remember what it is. You know how that goes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Pat.
Hi.
Hey, is that Sherm we got on there with you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I recognize the voice. I'm listening to the show on Wow.
Oh.
This is Jim Bailey from California.
Oh.
Listening from
all
California.
right.
Anyway, I heard a good one on the I saw it on the computer. This guy changes his 9-volt batteries out on his smoke detectors once a year,
Uh-huh.
and then he had them in a bag in the garage
That's what he
to
just talked about.
recycle.
He just talked about that.
I'm glad
Yeah.
you saw it. Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I sent that to Jim. Maybe you got it from him, but it was a very good tip.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't realize that. I had no idea that could happen.
I know I got a whole shoebox full of batteries just loose.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
You might want to
Separate them.
separate them, especially 9-volters. The other ones aren't so dangerous, but why take a chance?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already taken care of.
Good deal.
All right.
I just thought I'd call and pass that on.
All right, Bales. Thank you, buddy.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I was going to ask you, what about a double A or a triple A?
The voltage is low, and they're so far apart. I suppose, and I was thinking about that
Right.
when I went to bed last night. Wonder if you put a whole bunch of them and they're all jingled
Right.
up and put them in a bag. I'm thinking the amount of the batteries. If you had maybe
10, 12.
yeah, or more.
The odds are they're going to...
Yeah. See, now like the package we bought at I think it's Sam's Club. We got a good deal for on the double A's, but they lay in a tray, a plastic tray. That's how they came. You took off the back, which was cardboard, but we left them in that tray so that
Okay.
they're separated. We did that,
Right.
and then we start checking those out right away.
Sure, sure. Interesting stuff. I'm glad you brought that in. And then Bailey must have missed the beginning of our interview.
Yeah.
When we were talking about that. But that's gone viral on the internet. It's all over the place.
And I hesitated at first, and I didn't have enough time to really research. Was this good information?
You never know.
I know, you got to be so doggone careful that I wouldn't want anybody accusing me of, you better check things out before you open up your mouth. But I thought, I watched the video. I'm sure nobody staged that fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they showed it afterwards, and even the smoke detector would still beep. When we're watching the video, my wife goes, "What was that?" And I said, "That's the beep of the smoke detector from the house." He did the whole program from his house after the fire.
Oh, really?
After the fire was out.
So did the guy that actually was the victim of this was the one that posted this?
Yes.
No kidding.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
I'll have Jeannie send you the.
Yeah, because you know what, I got it from a couple people. It might have been Bailey, one of them. But a lot of times I got so many emails I
you gotta
eliminated.
watch,
You
yeah.
know, so if you would send that, I'd like to see it now that
Yeah.
we talked about it, and I know exactly what it's about. But interesting stuff.
I know it. I wish we could. I remember you saying that when I first come in and sat down, and now I can't think of the.
Oh, about the. I can't remember either. I think it had to do with maybe this cold I've got.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think it had to do with
Yeah.
the cold, which is going around.
yeah.
And I guess the best thing you can do, just keep washing your hands and.
That really works.
Yeah.
That really
I know
works.
what it was, Sherm. A buddy of mine actually touched me. He had a
Oh,
cold.
that's what we were. Yeah.
And I go, I wanted to kill him because I am germophobic. I don't like to be around germs if I can help it.
Well, why would you want to be?
And right. And if my wife's got a cold, she sleeps in the other room because I'm afraid of because I have to talk all day. The more I talk, the more it makes me want to cough because it tickles my
Oh,
throat.
absolutely.
So that's what it was. Finally, it came back to me. But Lord, I feel like I'm young again. Sure. I want to thank you so much for coming in today.
I'm glad I could come, and I enjoy coming. And
A different show today because you got a chance to be in the co-host spot. And,
Yeah.
And I'd like to, if you got time, for you to come back often.
Sure.
You know, it really helps me out to have somebody
not
to
a
talk
problem,
to.
yeah.
Sitting here talking to myself for 3 hours is not fun. Believe me. But thank you so much for coming in.
you're more than welcome.
Be safe out there. I guess we're going
We-
to get some more snow.
Yeah, we passed a couple good tips.
We did. We
So-
feel like we accomplished
Yeah,
something.
yeah, and had fun to
Had
boot.
fun.
Yeah.
Had fun.